Hi, I'm Mark, and in this video, we're gonna go over the top 5 stocks and ETFs or index funds to put in your TFSA or Roth IRA. Let's get into it. Welcome to Money with Mark. This is the show all about money, how we earn it, how we spend it, how we save it, and how we invest it. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, hit the subscribe button down below this video to subscribe to my channel for more personal finance videos like this one. Today's video suggestion came from Andy Q. So thank you, Andy, for the video suggestion. And if you have a video suggestion you'd like to see from this channel, please put it down in the comments on this video. So Andy wanted to know what sort of stocks or ETFs would we be holding in a TFSA? And that's for Canadians, and for Americans, that would be your Roth IRA. Now, the thing with your TFSA or Roth IRA is that you put in whatever money you want to put into it now, but when you withdraw that money, you get to keep 100% of your withdrawals. And now that's different than a 401k or an RRSP. Again, that's the Canadian American difference. Because with those funds, when you withdraw money, you'll actually have to pay taxes on those withdrawals as if it was regular income. So because of that, that makes our TFSA and our Roth IRA the most powerful investing tools that we have. Because if you get $1 million and you withdraw $1 million out of a TFSA or RRSP, from your RRSP, you're gonna have to pay about 40%, 50% taxes on that. But with your TFSA, you get to keep 100% of that $1 million. Now, the governments know that these are such good investment vehicles that they actually limit how much we can put into it every year. And that's exactly why, because these are such great investment and retirement accounts that they actually don't want to give us just like free reins to go do it, because they'd be missing out on a lot of tax dollars. So knowing this, we can really decide what we want to do with our TFSA or our Roth IRA. And now what I would recommend doing is, as you go out your career, you're gonna have multiple retirement accounts. You might have an RRSP, or what's known as a 401k in the US, and you'll also have a TFSA, or that's a Roth IRA in the US, and you might have a variety of other accounts, potentially something with your company, potentially just some savings accounts, maybe even some real estate or dividend income from something like that. So knowing all this, pretty much all of these other retirement vehicles are gonna be taxed consistently, except for your TFSA or Roth IRA, where they are not taxed consistently. They can grow tax-free and you get to withdraw that money tax-free. So what that means is that we want to have as much money into those accounts as soon as possible. So whatever your contribution limit is, for Canadians, I think at the time of this video, just before going into 2021, it's gonna be around $70,000 of contribution room. So we need to make sure that we max out that contribution room as quick as we can. And the investments that we buy in there, we wanna buy and hold them for as long as we can. So we wanna be pulling money out of those accounts last. Why? Because we don't get taxed on it. So we want it to grow tax-free for as long as possible. All right, so that being said, what does that mean for the actual stocks and ETFs or index funds that we're gonna hold in these accounts? Well, this means because we're holding these for the longer term, we can afford to go a little bit more risky in here. Because market downturns like the COVID crash of 2020, those are gonna ride themselves out pretty easily if we're holding this for 20, 30, 40 or more years. So when it comes to your asset allocation inside a TFSA, what we really mean by that is how many fixed income, and that could be bonds or real estate, compared to the amount of equities you hold, which are stocks. So an index fund like VFV would be 100% stocks. And so that is more risky than a fund like VGROW or VBAL, which are allocated with a little bit more bonds and fixed income. Now, if this is a little too much to wrap your head around, that's okay. The entire point that we want to know is that if you have more of these fixed income stuff, then your investments are more secure. However, they also don't experience the same growth that 100% equities have. So within our TFSA or Roth IRA, we want to hold 100% equities because we want that upside. We want that growth that's going to come from the more riskier funds. So because of that, what I recommend is a couple very targeted index funds and maybe one or two stocks here or there. And this is the order that I would get them in. First of all, I like VFV the best, and that's the S&P 500 index fund. Second, I really like QQQ. QQQ is kind of the industry standard for the tech industry. And as we all know, the tech industry usually experiences way more growth than most other industries. The third one that I like the best is VGT, which is also another technology growth fund from Vanguard. And it's pretty similar to QQQ. And because these hold so much tech companies, you're going to be able to experience the insane amount of growth that companies like Tesla have or Amazon have had. And you're going to be able to get that growth from companies all over the world, companies you might not even hear about. So that's why I absolutely love holding tech-heavy index funds in my TFSA. And the fourth ETF or index fund that I recommend is CQQQ. CQQQ is a technology index fund that's primarily focused on China and emerging economies. A lot of this is around the Asia area. And this fund has done substantially well for itself and is very similar to QQQ, but just with a very specific focus on China. The reason why I like to do this is there fraud in China and a lot of sketchy banking going on? Yes, there absolutely is, which is kind of similar to what's happened with a lot of companies in the US. This isn't really unheard of. So I'm not really scared of China frauding you out of your money. But the reason why I like to have this is because China is very evidently going to be one of the next, if not the greatest, superpower in the world. So if we want to invest in the largest economies in the world, which is what we want to do, China is the next in line behind the US and could very well overtake the US in the next coming years. So that's why I want to have a lot of money invested in CQQQ and get the growth of the Tesla of China, of the Google of China. And those are companies like Baidu and Tencent, which have experienced insane growth as China's own country is developing at an insanely fast rate. If you're interested in learning more about how China is developing, I will link to another video up here. You can click the icon to watch a little documentary done on how China has grown and evolved over the past 50 years. It's actually quite amazing. And the fifth and final stock or ETF recommendation to hold in your TFSA is actually going to be an individual stock. And now I don't really like to hold individual stocks because it's just a bad case scenario for most parties involved. But there is one stock that I have been particularly interested in, and I don't really like to go off a lot of mainstream hype. What I like to do is I like to look at big emerging trends that are going to stay in industries throughout the world. So China emerging is a very evident thing that we can track. The other thing emerging is legal gambling in the USA. I personally have some experience in that space, but because of that, I know how big that market's going to be. And so that's why I really like the stock DraftKings. And that stock is DKNG. It's essentially an online casino for sports betting. And they also have an actual online casino version too. And if there's one thing that I know about the casino and sports betting business, it's big and it's huge. So I really have some high hopes for DraftKings. But then again, it's insanely risky to invest in a single stock like this. So I'm not going to hold a lot of it, but it's something that I am interested in a little bit. But then again, please do all your own research and make sure that you know what you're investing in. Because don't just take my word or anyone else's word who might just be filming videos and posting it online. So what did you think about these ETF and stock recommendations for your TFSA? Is there anything that I missed out? Let me know in the comments down below this video, and I'll be happy to figure out what other stocks that I should have included. And I might just do a video on those. So thank you very much for tuning in to Money with Mark. This is Mark, and I am very happy to be seeing all of you new, beautiful faces to my YouTube channel. It's been an insane growth year for my YouTube channel, and I'm just so happy to be spreading good personal finance advice and strategies and to create a community of people trying to better their personal finances off of each other. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please give this channel a subscribe, and you can follow me on TikTok or Instagram at Money with Mark. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace out.